Hey there, Internet friends. This is Danielle Pierce, creator of Real Estate Profit Lab and Property Preservation Mastery. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. I appreciate your time as always. Please be sure to like, subscribe, share the video wherever you may be watching, whether that's YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram. I'm also live on all three platforms at the same time. Again, this is a continuation of our day in the life series that we started about 6 days ago. This is day 6. So it's going to be 21 days of Q&A. So essentially I'll answer one question related to property preservation every single day for 21 days straight. We are on day 6, so there's about 15 more to go. All right, with that in mind, let me see. Let's go ahead and jump into this video today. What do you guys need to know? Oh, this campaign is going to take us right into our Black Friday campaign, where we'll be sharing even more stories about the current state of the industry and highlighting our most successful students of the year. Yeah. Really? Go ahead, take it. All right, with that in mind, as I was interrupted by my child, let's get into highs and lows. So highs and lows is just a way for me to give some insight about, something that happened for the day, something that was great, something that was not so great, not anything too traumatic unless that just happens to be the case. I follow I follow this life coach. Her name is Brooke Castillo, and she says very often that life is 50% pain and 50% like pleasure and gratitude and ecstasy. So I tend to agree. So some days are just, not that great, and it is what it is. So I'll go first. You guys feel free to drop yours highs and lows in the comments down below. Low for today. I don't know why I always start with the low. I think that's the Scorpio in me, right? Low for today. I went into Target to buy a t-shirt for my son's friend's birthday party, and I spent $75 there in about 12 minutes. So that's a bit of a low. High for today, it was 75 degrees. My son's friend had his birthday party outdoors. It was close to the stadium where the Dallas Cowboys play, and you can actually tailgate there, which is pretty cool. If you follow me on Instagram, you can check my stories. You'll be able to see what I'm talking about, but it's kind of like a cowboy city. So it's a big screen TV. You can be out there. You can't like grill, right? But you can bring chairs. You can throw a football back and forth and lay out on the, they have a turf. It's set up like a football field, which I think is pretty cool. So they always say everything's bigger in Texas. So I don't know, maybe it is. Anywho, feel free to drop your highs and lows in the comments down below. Definitely appreciate it. Mark your calendars for November the 24th. That is a Wednesday. You'll have 5 hours to register for our flagship property preservation mastery program at $1,497. That's $1,000 off the regular price. Won't be seeing that price again ever. So yeah, please be sure to take advantage during that 5 hour window. We're also throwing in an additional $3,000 in bonuses. So once that landing page is ready, I'll be posting it, closer to the 24th, so you guys can see exactly where the bonuses are. It's not going to be a condensed version of the course. It'll be the full course that's always available, but it will be, again, $1,497, which I think is a phenomenal deal. So stay tuned for that. Last time we talked about whether you should quit your job to start your business. So just in case there was any confusion around that, my answer to that is always an emphatic no. Today, we're talking about working the business as a full-time mom. So disclaimer, I'm speaking to those of you who have younger children. The older children can typically look after themselves, or you can, have them help you out inside of the business. So we're talking about younger children. Typically, I would say probably 10 and under. All right. So I have 7 tips that I want to share with you tonight. The first one is this. When you're assigning due dates to your contractor to get work done, and when I say assign due dates, that could be either you talking to them over the phone, it could be you emailing them, it could be you're sending the work order to them in PPW or Proven. In those apps, you can change the due date and make it be whatever you want it to be, essentially. So I always tell, people and students and the contractors, I give them a window that's 1 to 2 days before the actual due date. So if the work order is due November the 15th, I tell them it's due on the 13th or the 14th. The reason for that is because I just feel like, just like when you're dealing with folks who are always late, something starts at 7:30, say, hey, can you be here at 7 o'clock? Because, they're going to arrive, close to the time of 7:30 or a little bit later. So that's kind of the philosophy that I employ with contractors. I recommend that you do that as well. Another thing I want to share with you is to set aside dedicated time blocks to review and upload work orders. So I don't want you to get into the habit of, having work orders coming in and trying to upload and review them, as it comes in. So you're hopping on your computer, going to deal with the kids, hopping back on the computer, going to deal with the kids. I recommend you have a specific time block that you dedicate to doing that, and you get it done during that time window and that time window only. That's ideal. That's an ideal scenario. Another rule I would have, or that I want to share with you today, is to implement a procedure when you hire people on, and explain to them that you want them to contact you before they leave any property, whatever they were sent to the property to do. And the reason for that is because I want you to start doing a quick review of photos on your phone or your computer to make sure that they're accurate, so that they make sure they haven't missed anything minor that would result in you having to, incur a trip charge, or call it a each company calls it something different. One company calls it still needs, basically like you still need to go back to this property and do something. So if you have something in place where they contact you before leaving, you can at least make sure that they took, the correct photos of the address, the exterior photos, they took the correct photos showing the lockbox code, the key working, et cetera, et cetera. So I highly, highly recommend that you do that no matter what level you are in the business. All right, so that was 3. Number 4, don't meet contractors alone. And there's so many reasons for this. Safety reasons for yourself, either from the contractors or from the neighborhood or people watching the house. A few years ago, actually, this was like maybe 10 years ago in Chicago, I was doing a rehab on 113th and Calumet. And I used to meet the contractors there every Friday to pay them. And I guess, with it being Chicago, really anywhere, people are always watching. So one Friday I met them to pay them for the week. And I got a call from them about 15 minutes later. Somebody had, basically robbed them inside of the property as they were getting ready to leave for the day. So I didn't end up, we didn't really file a police report or do anything like that, which sounds super sad. In Chicago, they just, they don't, it's not a whole lot you can do about something like that. But, and they still were able to finish the project, but they were obviously a lot more careful. I think they probably started carrying a gun, and they ended up getting robbed for, how much had I just paid them? Maybe like $1,200 or something like that. But yeah, the people were watching the house, and as soon as I left, they went in and robbed them of the money that I had just paid them for the week. All right. So that's the reason why you don't meet contractors alone. Next tip I want to offer you is to utilize either QuickBooks. If you're not in a position where you can afford QuickBooks just yet, or you don't want to learn it, or you feel like it's too complicated, it's actually pretty simple. I'll say that. And then also, quick tip: you can actually have not a contractor, a CPA set up your initial QuickBooks for a one-time fee, and then you manage it on an ongoing basis every single month afterward. Or you can have somebody to set it up and do the books every single month too. It's not an expensive deal. It's maybe, I think QuickBooks Online is $35 a month. The CPA or bookkeeper might charge you $50 to $100 a month to do the books. So that's an option. But if you're just getting started, I'm kind of thinking that an Excel spreadsheet or a Google Sheet will work, just as well. Basically, make sure that you keep track of all the work orders, all the expenses, anything that you pay for materials and your labor costs. Keep track of everything, on one spreadsheet. And then until you get to a point where you can, where you need QuickBooks. All right. Next tip I want to offer you is this one. Just like I mentioned earlier, to do all your review and uploading of work orders at one time, I do recommend you do all of your bids at one time. It will feel stressful. Notice I put emphasis on feel, but I think it's ideal to get used to doing bids and to have, let's say you're doing like 2 or 3, right? Or maybe you're doing one bid that's inclusive of 10 or 15 different line items. I do want you to get into habit of doing those either, once a week, twice a week, but at a specific dedicated time slot. So you're not picking it up and putting it back down. Bidding is something that is very challenging when you're into it and you walk away, a child distracts you, you got to go answer the door, get a phone call, and then you hop back in 30 minutes, 2-3 hours later, you kind of lose all the progress that you made and your mindset when you were working on it before. So I do like for you to get those done at a specific time. And then last thing, the last tip for today is with regard to, working a business and managing children, is to don't be afraid to ask for more time. It's almost never an issue to get more time to complete any specific work order, you can just shoot an email or you can pick up the phone. I think email is always better to have a paper trail and say, hey, I'm running into this difficulty or I'm having this particular issue. My internet went down, my computer is not working. Contractor, said he can't go today, he'll go tomorrow. But either way, just ask for an additional 24 hours if you need to. But I do recommend that you not wait until the last minute to do that. So it's better to ask for it prior to the actual due date. So if it's due on the 25th, you shouldn't be sending an email on the 25th to request additional time. It's very similar to, I gave a scenario earlier about telling people the wrong time or you want them to show up on time because they're always late. So I kind of think that same logic applies when we're talking about various work orders, because at the end of the day, prior to the actual due date that something is going to be late or there's a strong possibility that's going to be late. If it is, 12 o'clock on the 25th and it's due on the 25th and you don't have it, well, that order is probably going to be late. So at that point, you could start, or prior to that, the night before, you should kind of, ask for more time. The day of, you should be always uploading work orders that were due on prior days that you already have, as opposed to work orders that are due the same day. All right, so quick recap for the folks who came in late. I see y'all. Today we're talking about, managing a business, your property preservation business, and handling children, right, as a full-time mom. First tip is to tell your contractors the due dates that are actually 1 to 2 days before the actual due date. Second tip, set aside dedicated time blocks to review and upload work orders. Don't do them one by one. It's going to feel like you're working all day, every day. Trust me, and it's not going to feel good. And then your kids are going to be saying you're always on a computer, you're always doing something. Like it's just better to do it all at one time. Third tip is to have a rule in place to where contractors have to contact you before leaving the property so you can do a quick review of the photos on your phone or your computer. Fourth tip is don't meet contractors alone. You might get robbed, they might rob you. It's a lot of different scenarios, and it's almost never a good idea to meet them alone unless it's family, right? Or somebody that you actually know. Next tip is to utilize QuickBooks or utilize Excel or a Google Sheet to keep track of all your expenses and revenue on an ongoing basis so that it doesn't build up and feel like an insurmountable task when it comes time to figure out how much you got to pay out for the week, right? And then you also have a much better take on profit margins as well if you're keeping track of it and looking at it every single day. Do all of your bids at one time. I don't recommend stopping and starting bids. It's going to stress you out and be very, very frustrating. And then last thing is to not be afraid to ask for more time. It's almost never an issue. Nothing's going to happen. You're not going to get fired. They're not going to really do anything. They may ask you why, right? And in that case, you can just, say the actual reason or just say whatever, but ask for more time is not an issue. What is an issue is knowing something is due, not communicating that it's going to be late, and just, letting that due date lapse without saying anything at all. All right. Tomorrow, we're talking about creative ways to find contractors. That'll be a good video as well. If you've missed any of the prior videos, please go back and check them out. They are not going to be deleted. They're going to remain up for the remainder of indefinitely, right? So they're not going anywhere. And again, this is day 6 of our 21 day hashtag day in the life campaign. So again, I'll be answering one question about property preservation or giving some tips every single day. Got 15 more days left, y'all. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we get through these next 15 days. And again, on Wednesday the 24th at 7:00 p.m. Central Standard Time, you'll be able to register for our course for our Black Friday promo at $1,497. So if you've been on the fence all year, you guys, this is a great time to get off. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, sending you love, light, peace, blessings, grace, and clarity.